What is the worst thing that has happened at a high school reunion party that you attended? At my 10-year high school reunion, my friend, his girlfriend, and I hot pretty drunk and belligerent. We decided to light a joint and pass it around under the table. That lasted about 5 minutes until we were asked to leave. On the way out I tried to kiss the homecoming queen and got slapped. Almost got arrested that night, but somehow talked my way out of it. That was in 1977, haven't been to another reunion since. I wasn't a bad kid in high school, just decided to let fly that evening. Probably ruined the experience for a lot of people. Our old high school was being relocated to a brand new building, so this was also a farewell to the old facility. It was kind of a big deal, because we waited many years and fought for this to happen. They were serving alcohol, but many of us decided to pre-drink and show up later. By the time we arrived, everybody else was already drunk and the administration had to cut off the sale of alcohol because that one troubled kid that everybody hated showed up, still being the massive prick we all remembered, and alcohol amplified it. He was found in the bathroom stall, unconscious in a pool of his own vomit, and was transported to the hospital. We were just upset that he wasn't kicked out earlier, in which case they would have served us booze. To this day, he is still referred to as the guy who ruined the high school reunion. I punched a guy in his jaw for bullying me and my best friend during high school. After that, he didn't bother me that much. After 9 years, I decided to attend the reunion hoping that my friends from high school grew up even a little bit, but they didn't. And that bully, he is still thinking about that punch and told me that he should just stab me with a pen. I'm still in touch with my friends, but no more reunions after that. 10-year was held at a new hotel downtown. I was surprised at how many people showed up. Had fun and ended the night at some 24-hour diner with friends. A couple days later, the organizers informed everyone that someone had torn a urinal off the men's bathroom wall, and it flooded to floor below, causing extensive damage that our class was going to have to pay for. We all had assumptions, but there were no cameras to prove anything. Months go by, and some guy got a hold of the hotel and admitted to being extremely drunk and tearing the urinal off the wall. Paid for the damages. He was part of a wedding reception held the same night in another ballroom. My sister's 10-year reunion combined theirs with the graduating class before them because their class president was still in prison and was due to get released the following year. My 5-year reunion. A kid who just happened to be in the background most of the time gets hammered at the reunion venue, a VFW type hall. Stiff drinks for cheap. Slamming them. Then we all decide to go to a nearby and local bar for the next installment. He slams drinks in the parking lot and his car, drives drunk, continues to drink at the second bar, gets in a screaming match with one of the former pretty and popular girls who was likely being as much of a bitch as she was in big school, but at least this time for good reason. She pushes him away. He shoves her hard. Big former football dudes grab this kid, who's maybe 5'5" and 160 chubby, as well as the bouncers, and literally throw him out the back door through the kitchen. Additionally, one of my best friends tried to lay up a threesome with the twins in our grade. That didn't work out. He also didn't remember going to the second bar. At my 10-year high school reunion, we had a decent turnout, maybe 100 plus people. We were at a pretty nice hotel banquet hall. There was one guy I had known all through high school, and he was a well-known stoner. I'll call him Chris for this story. I see Chris walk into the banquet hall, stop in his tracks, turn around in a very slow 360-degree circle, surveying the entire room. He just says, "Whoa," and he looks visibly alarmed. He stops and his eyes settle on me. I say, "Hey, Chris, long time no see, man." He kind of slides over to me and whispers in my ear, "This is really weird. I'm pretty sure I know every single person in this room." And that is when I realize he is wearing the same clothes as all the banquet hall workers. Oh my god. Chris is working as a server at his own high school reunion, and he has no clue what is happening. I walk him out to the front lobby and explain it's our 10-year high school reunion. He is mortified, beyond embarrassed. He was never contacted and didn't even realize it had been 10 years since we graduated. He just knew he was working another catering gig in a never-ending series of catering gigs. I make him take me to his manager. I explain what is happening and tell the manager there is no way this guy's working his own high school reunion. Awesomely, the manager agrees. We find a different suit jacket and tie for him, and I take Chris back to the party. He ended up having a good night. When my 10-year-old around our class president was also planning the wedding, I offered to help, even though I lived out of state, but mostly because my dad organizes his and knew how to throw a fun reunion. About a week before the event was to take place, my class president calls me freaking out that someone we graduated with had started posting really creepy posts and statuses about the reunion that could be perceived as threatening. She didn't know what to do, or if we should take them as threats and call the police. Since this was just in some bar we partially rented out, it was still open to the public. Classic hometown BS. I wasn't his friend on social media, but I had a few of my friends who were to watch what he was saying. Basically, a joint effort was made to make him feel welcome as opposed to ostracized, and he came to the reunion with no issue. My parents were taking money and checking everyone in, so they were warned and had eyes along with the bar owner and security guard. I spent months planning my 10-year reunion. As a 17-year-old I didn't realize what running for class president would stick me with a decade later. The night of the first event was in my hometown, and we met up with some friends for dinner. Afterward, at the social event in a bar we had rented, my husband and a friend's husband went off to play Golden Tee, since they only knew each other. At one point mid-evening, my husband comes up to me in the front, puts his head down on his hands on the bar height table, and slurs and mumbles, "I don't feel well." Me, horrified, flicks his ear and whispers, "Pick your head up," with a death glare. He does, takes 2 big gulps of air, and proceeds to barf all over the place. My group of friends collectively jumped back from the table, but people were still splattered. I wanted to kill him. Ended up driving him to my mom's where we were staying, and he slept in the garage with the dog, because he thought I had locked the door. When I slammed it, I hadn't. He walked into the formal night the next night to a standing ovation and many offers for a drink, which he declined. Yes, we are still married, and no, I didn't bring him to the next reunion. My ex-business partner's wife went to school with me. We were in the process of structuring me buying him out of his summer of our 20-year reunion. His wife was having a great and all time, and he was working, so I could take the night off. He kept texting me what she was drinking, who she was talking to, etc. As we went to the after party at a bar I stopped replying to his texts and got plastered. I saw his wife in the backseat of a car giving head next to my car. Took a picture and then drove myself home. Side note. As we closed the deal 2 months later he begged for more money and said I cheated him out of money. Asked him if that was what his wife told him to say. He backed off and moved away and started some new life for himself. Bought a burner phone just for the sole purpose of texting him those pictures and captioned them while you were away. Apparently she didn't RSVP for this year's reunion. On my wife's 20th, some dude whom I had no clue started whining about how he should have asked her out, how he missed an opportunity. 3 classmates tried to tell him he was really drunk. Time to move on and mingle. Enjoy. He told my wife she was a whore and then moved towards her. Let's just say I gave him fist surgery on his nose and he was a blood donor to the floor. Word of advice, if a husband tells you, "Let's walk over there and cool down together," I'll listen to ya. Don't he grab her shirt. Guy banged his high school crush he had held a torch for all those years in the handicapped bathroom. Well, he was married. His wife found out when the crush wound up pregnant. His wife divorced him, took him for the house he sold his boat, had 2 small kids. He had to pay for etc. and the high school crush also decided she had only wanted sex not him, so he had to pay for that too. Multiple lives changed in one bathroom stall. This was during high school, but it is such a disaster I think it qualifies. We had 3 teen pregnancies during my time in high school. All 3 girls and their boyfriends dropped out. Anyway, one of the teen moms was not allowed to see the boy who got her pregnant anymore, so they both devised a plan over Facebook Messenger to run away from home and kill themselves. One day we hear that both the girl and boy are missing. The next day the girl ends up returning home. A week later they find her boyfriend dead in a nearby forest. They suspect he killed himself because he thought she already did. Even worse is that his mother took her own life shortly after from the grief. The teen mother later admits that she isn't even sure the child was his. It was an all-around terrible event emotionally and legally. One of the other teen mums got pregnant 3 more times after posting she wouldn't make any more stupid decisions. It was a crazy 4 years. 10-year class reunion, class of 2005. It was a 3-day event. The second night was formal night where everyone and plus ones attended. Catered food, rented venue, open bar, band, the works. The night was going smooth and people were really letting loose and having a good time. Open bars help with that, right? As I go back and forth to grab drinks at the bar, I have this feeling like I know the bartender from somewhere or have seen him before. I ask some friends and they say the same. So by the next round I bring it up and say, hey, don't I know you from somewhere? He looks me dead in the face and goes, yeah, I was part of the graduating class. I didn't even get an invite. The poor guy got hired to work his own reunion that he wasn't even invited to. The worst accidental mistake I've ever been a part of, and I'm now that asshole who recognized him just enough to bring it up.